The October 2021 real estate market numbers are out for Nashville, Tennessee. So what is happening in our market? That's what I'm covering in today's video. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin and I am a local Nashville real estate agent, and I specialize in helping savvy sellers who want to sell right and sell smart, as well as helping out-of-staters looking to relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, thank you so much. Please feel free to click subscribe down below so that you are notified anytime I release new video content. So today's video, we are going to be talking about the current state of the Nashville real estate market. The October 2021 numbers have just come out. So I figured our market is literally changing all the time. It can change week to week. So let's go ahead and start talking about what is happening, what we expect for the rest of 2021, and what to anticipate heading into 2022. So let's jump on in. The October 2021 numbers have just come out from the Greater Nashville Realtors Association, and what they're telling us is that in October of 2021, our total home sales were actually down 7% from October of 2020. So if you have been following any of my recent market updates the last several months, you've noticed that year over year, our home sales have been down since July of 2021. But again, this is when you're comparing like July 2021 to July 2020, so on and so forth to now. So what is this telling us? This is telling us, compared to where we were this spring, our market has slightly softened. So when you're actually looking at October 2021 compared to September of 2021, and you do that back all the way through the rest of 2020, those numbers tell a little bit of a different story. So even though year over year we're down, our market is still very strong. So if you actually look at the number of closings that took place in October, we had a total of 4,047 closings. So how does that compare to where we were in the insanity of the spring selling market? So if you take a look at the numbers from April of 2021, this was starting to be the real true peak of what we were seeing. So you got to remember, people started coming in, going under contract in record time starting in March. So a lot of those closings were happening in April. So let's take a look at what those numbers look like. So in April of 2020, we had a total of 4,119 closings. Then in May, we had 4,063. And then June, we had the most closings. So again, those were most people that went under contract in May when we were seeing a lot of insanity here in our market. In June, we saw the most closings so far this year, and that was 4,649 closings. So if you look at the peak of our closings for the biggest month of closings in 2021, we had just close to 4,700 closings. But then compare that to October, we still had over 4,000 closings. We're sitting there at 4,047 for October. So yes, we are down. Our market has slightly softened. So if you actually look at the month over month closing number, you will see a really steady, very small decline from the peak in June until October. Actually, September was just a little under the amount of closings that we had in October. So that does feel fairly consistent to what we were feeling in live time in the market. There weren't quite as many closings. September was slightly slower. October did pick back up just a little bit, and November and December remain to be seen. So what can we expect for the rest of the year? Well, experts are predicting that we will continue to see a bit of a strong market. So here's the thing. Traditionally, winter, November, December, January, February tend to be slower months because it's colder. Less people want to be out. The only buyers that are out are those real serious buyers. However, and we can tell now from our numbers that are coming in that are showing us the year over year, 2020 was an anomaly. So we actually continually had this steady march through 2020 that led to that big explosion that we saw in March of this year and throughout our spring selling season. So are we expected to see kind of something similar to 2020? It doesn't look like it. It looks like, yes, we're still a strong market. We are still seeing heavy demand from out-of-staters that are relocating here. And the reasons why they're relocating here don't appear to be changing anytime soon. So we do have a very strong out-of-state buyer demand, but it does look like we're gonna trend a little bit closer to normal, whereas we'll have a slight slow in our market, which if you are a buyer and you are looking to get into our market, I would tell you that now is a great time to jump on in if you have the ability. So what I am anticipating for the rest of this year, we will continue to see a slight slow, but then I'm very much anticipating that around March of 2022, we will start to see another explosion hit our real estate market, because there are a lot of people I've been talking to and other agents I've been talking to. We are hearing a lot of people say that they are moving out here, but they want to be here as soon as school ends, wherever they are located. So and that's similar to what we saw this past year. So I'm expecting that we will see another surge come into our market in the spring of 2022. So if you are a buyer that has the flexibility to maybe purchase before the rush of the spring selling season, I would say seriously consider it, take a look, because what we're noticing is that there are some homes that are starting to sit on the market just a little bit longer, and we're noticing that the demand has slightly softened. Again, this is not a whole reversal of our market by any means, but this does lend itself to better opportunities for those buyers who really are wanting to get into our real estate market, because again, I think come spring, we're gonna see another serious push. Now, will it be quite the extremity that we saw in spring of 2021? Not necessarily, but I do anticipate that we're gonna see another flood of people coming in again, especially from out of state, just making our real estate market go a little crazy. And continuing to look at the end of 2021, I know there could be headlines out there and people are all the time saying, well, this market has gotta crash, it's gotta stop. Here's the thing, mortgage rates are still low, which makes it a great opportunity, again, for buyers that are really wanting to get into the market, whether you're local or out of state. If you have that flexibility and the means to do so, now would be a great time, because it does give you a little bit more of a competitive edge, because we have started to see, again, with certain offers, we started to see a little bit more where the buyer's not having to completely lay themselves vulnerable in order to get their home that they are seeking when they're searching. Now, are we going to be crashing? Is it going to be a bubble? All of that stuff. Here's the thing. The reason why our real estate market crashed back in 2008, those factors are not really factors now. So back then, people did not have the equity in their home that they have now. So yes, we've seen the forbearance, and people that can't make the payments, people that are still struggling, here's the thing. They should have the equity built up in their homes to where they're able to sell without going into foreclosure. So yes, there may be some that do reach the foreclosure point, but because people have been sitting in equity, especially here in the Nashville market, with the way that our market has just been trending for the better part of, honestly, 10 years now, they have equity built in their home, so they would have the means to be able to sell and not be in the hole, and so therefore they wouldn't have to go into foreclosure. We've kind of covered, are we going to crash by the end of 2021? No. All the factors that came into play for 2008 are not present right now, and those that are struggling, again, they've got equity in their home. So what should you think about and what should you consider as we look to 2022? Well, I've already covered some of this. Again, I really believe that if you have the means to get in before March, or if you're willing to wait until July, I think that March to June is going to be really crazy again, and it will be competitive. That's not to say you can't enter the market at that time. You absolutely can. I just like to always preface it with, you may need to prep yourself, have a little bit more perseverance, and kind of mentally just be prepared. It may happen on the first offer, but it may take multiple offers until you land a home. And again, that doesn't say don't come here, don't buy here. It just means when you're in a very competitive season, you just need a little extra resilience and perseverance to get through it. And ultimately you will end up with the right home that's meant for you. But if you have the flexibility and you have the means to do so, if you can get in before or right after, you'll be dealing with a little less competition. Now, in the Nashville real estate market, we continue to deal with low supply, high demand, and that doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. Yes, we do have new construction, but again, new construction is a very fluid situation right now. So back in the spring, we saw a lot of builders that were kind of putting a pause on things. So they would only allow one contract or two contracts to be written a month, and then they couldn't write another one again until the next month. Now, some said, hey, we can write the contract, but we're not even going to start your build for 6 months. There's a lot of things that were happening. Now, when we were looking towards the end of summer and I was talking to builders, some of those had said, hey, we've got these lots available. We're ready to write contracts. We've got no restrictions at the moment. And then now when the most recent conversations I've started to have with builders again, some of those restrictions are coming back in place. And so yes, new construction is trying to help with the inventory issue, but they're not able to build as fast as they need to be able to build to even try to level out the issue that we're dealing with supply and demand, and builders are also dealing with those supply chain issues. So there's a lot happening right now. It is a competitive market here, and we do expect homes to continue to appreciate. Now, one stat that we saw came in said that homes could appreciate up to 16% by this time next year here in the Nashville area. So again, if you have the means to get in sooner rather than later, that means you can just continue to ride that appreciation on up as it continues to go up. And just so people know, because I know I hear a lot of people and they say things like, hey, the market's gonna crash, and hey, Nashville, like, I'll just wait until it calms down. That's great in a perfect world. However, local economists are continuing to predict that for the next 3 to 4 years, we will still be in a predominant seller's market. Of course, there will be some ebbs and flows to it, but it doesn't look like things are really going to change that dramatically in the next 3 to 4 years. So again, the sooner you can get in, the better off you're going to be. So when I'm talking about these numbers and what to anticipate, so if you're looking at the Franklin, Nolensville, Brentwood area, let's take a look at some of the home stats. So let's take a look at what the average home sale prices were for October of 2021. And we're also going to talk about the percentage of list price, because I think this is really important to know if you are looking at getting into the market, so that way you can appropriately manage your expectations and know what you're getting into. So let's go ahead and look at Franklin first. In October of 2021, the average home sale price in Franklin was $895,641. So this is actually a price jump of 32.9% over home sale prices a year ago. Now let's take a look at Brentwood. The average home sale price in October of 2021 was $1,018,114. Now this is actually a 23.1% price jump from the average home sale price in October of 2020 to October of 2021. And then in Nolensville, in October of 2021, the average home sale price was $592,368. And again, this is going to be about a 9.9% price jump from the home sale prices in October of 2020. So it seems like Nolensville has not seen as dramatic of a jump as, say, like Franklin and Brentwood. However, again, we're comparing the October 2021 numbers to the October of 2020. And so of course, things continue to ebb and flow and change in our market. Okay, and like I said, let's also, before we wrap this video up, let's talk about the list price, the percentage of list price. So if you take a look at Franklin, of all the home sales in Franklin in October 2021, the homes sold for 102.3% of the list price, which means it went over list price. I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, I don't want to have to pay premium prices, but here's the thing. Like I've said multiple times in this video already, you get in and you continue to ride the appreciation up. The clients that I have worked with this year, most of them, and if not all of them quite yet, are going to break even on the amount that they went over. They're either there or about to be there. That's like the kind of appreciation that we're dealing with here in the Nashville area. Now let's also take a look at Brentwood. For Brentwood, the average list price, it went for 101.9% of the list price. So again, that went over list price in Brentwood, and we're seeing the same thing in Nolensville. Of all of the sales in Nolensville in October of 2021, it went 101.5% over list. So these are things to keep in mind. Again, to me, if you have numbers, it can kind of help give you an idea of what to expect, what to prepare for. And again, if you have the means to try to jump in, you have the ability to either not go insanely over, get some better terms that are more favorable to the buyer. If you have the means to do so before the craziness of the spring selling season in spring of 2022, I would say let's start talking, figure out a game plan, figure out how we can get you in to where it makes sense for your wallet and to where, again, you can go ahead and get in and then start to ride that appreciation up. Okay, so that is all I had. I know that's probably a little long-winded, but I always feel like if I can give you as much information as possible as to what we're seeing in the market, hopefully this will give you a better idea of what to expect, just arm you with more knowledge so that when it is go time for you, you feel like you are prepared. So if you are thinking about moving to the Nashville area, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. All of my contact information is going to be below. I'm Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.